Hello, I'm Mark Blunden and this is the Standards Tech and Science Daily podcast. Coming up, why was Xbox Live down? But first, it is the ultimate wearable device, a personal brain scanner. Now, researchers at the University of Nottingham are showcasing the latest developments in consumer neurotech at the Royal Society's summer exhibition in London.
They're expecting 10,000 people to go into the Royal Society this week. It's all for free. And then you can go and experience the different things, like learn about space telescopes and learn about dark matter and learn about biology and how that's being used for cell development. And there's all sorts of things in there that people can experience. And then on our stand, what we have is a whole range of brain scanners that people can put on and try. We have our research grade ones, but also the consumer devices people can try and ask questions and start to learn about what that technology can do for you.
That's Dr. Max Wilson, Associate Professor at the University of Nottingham, whose research focuses on human-computer interaction and specifically consumer neurotech.
We're very interested in the fact that basically neurotechnology, brain scanners, has suddenly drastically shifted from stuff you can only really get in the lab to stuff that you can now buy for yourself and take home and use for your own benefits. So our research has really all been about, for the last 10 years, we've been using these research grade devices, pretty expensive, to study people in lab conditions. But now everything is suddenly shifting to the home. And so we're trying to raise awareness of how these devices work, what people can use them for, and then maybe begin our research agenda for the next 10 years of how will people's lives improve when they have brain scanners to take home.
And we asked about the data risks surrounding this emerging technology.
There is new legislation coming in different places deciding whether to treat it as medical data or sensitive data or just personal data. And those regulations are kind of coming in after some of these companies have got kind of tens of thousands of customers already producing data that's going onto servers. And so the regulation about what to do with that data is, to some extent, it's known in terms of GDPR in Europe is kind of, that still applies, but whether it's more sensitive than that or needs more control than that is being developed in parallel with the release of all this sudden technology.
Plus what the tech they're working with looks like.
The ones we like to work with are using infrared light emitters and infrared light receivers. And that infrared light just kind of passes into the brain through the skull and then just measures the amount of oxygen in your blood, essentially. And then there's other consumer devices you can get which kind of track the electricity in your brain with little just sensors all around the head. But the underlying technology is basically the same. It's just become miniaturized, cheaper, and then the software behind it has become more generally understood and more people can implement it. And so now you can get something that is using fewer sensors, not quite working to the same depth and with the same rigor, but essentially gets the same kind of insight into your brain data.
We wanted to know about the consumers who these brain scanners are being aimed at.
We're beginning to see people who essentially have questions about their brain health. Maybe it's someone who has ADHD, for example, and they want to know, are the things I'm doing on my daily basis to try and improve my focus and manage my ADHD, are they working? And so what we can do is get these kind of devices and do a session on the device, and then it will give you a score about how much you've managed to focus during that 10 minutes. And so someone might want to do that every day and see whether their kind of management plan is working for them and helping improve their focus over time.
And the risks if any such similar tech is deployed in workplaces of the future.
There's definitely risks. There's some default assumptions people have. So you might ask, for example, if you're good at your job, would your brain data be high because you're working all the time? Or would it be low because you can do that work effectively at a lower level than other people? And so the risk is that companies will be like, oh, everyone should have high workload all the time. We should be able to see that in your brain data. But actually in practice, when you're good at your job, you'll be able to apply different levels of mental effort to different things and be successful. And it doesn't really matter necessarily how high your brain activity is in that sense. It's what you can do and be productive. So the risk is people will misinterpret data or have the wrong assumptions about this kind of brain data as it becomes something that maybe starts to appear in the workplace.
The free summer science exhibition is on at the Royal Society, which is near to St James's Park, until the 7th of July. Next, Hurricane Beryl is churning towards Jamaica as a Category 4 storm after smashing through Grenada and St Vincent and the Grenadines. At least 4 people are known to have died as the destructive weather phenomenon made landfall in the southeastern Caribbean. Officials in Grenada say most of the buildings on the islands, which are home to 6,000 residents, have been damaged or destroyed. Next, Xbox Live was hit by a major outage that left thousands of players unable to sign into their profiles. Users reported problems with logging on, server connection and gameplay. In a post on X, the company reports the glitch is now fixed after it investigated what it describes as issues impacting users' ability to sign into Xbox Live and services, but no specifics as to the actual cause. Next, the World Health Organization has published its first comprehensive set of measures for quitting smoking. The WHO's tobacco cessation interventions focus on helping more than 750 million smokers, including behavioural support through healthcare providers, digital interventions and pharmacological treatments. Let's go to the ads. Stay there for more news from the world of tech and science, plus human link to extinction of the megaherbivores. Why not hit follow in the meantime and give us a rating. Welcome back. A study by Aarhus University in Denmark suggests humans had a hand in pushing vegan megaherbivores to extinction 50,000 years ago. These plant-eating Ice Age big beasts included woolly mammoths and the prehistoric giant sloth. Scientists examined climate data, DNA samples and archaeological evidence, determining pressure from early hunter-gatherers accelerated the animal's demise. And finally, scientists have developed a prosthetic leg that's controlled by the human brain in the hope of making getting up and down stairs easier for amputees. The device records signals from surgically preserved muscles which are carefully monitored and converted into controls for a robotic ankle. The Bionic legs work by recording the signals from remaining muscles and converting them into commands. In a trial of the technology with 14 amputees, researchers from MIT found their prosthetic leg created a more natural gait, improved stability on uneven terrain, and increased speed. You're up to date. Come back at 4 p.m. for the latest news, interviews, and analysis from the Standard podcast here in London, and we'll be back on Thursday at 1 p.m. See you then.